Welcome back to another edition of the Buy Low Fantasy Sports Show with Mitch and Bam. I'm Mitch, he's Bam. Bam, say hello.
Gobble, gobble.
Coming to you today with a special Thanksgiving Day Slate Walk. Since we have a 3-game special Slate Walk, Bam and I wanted to come together, give thanks by paying it forward to all you fine folks, help give our insights into this slate. Especially since this is the last week for many folks to make that last-minute push into the playoffs, especially in your season-long leagues. We thought it was important to give you, our 6 or so faithful listeners, some content to work with. And with all that being said, let's kick off this Turkey Day special slate walk. Bam, you ready to gobble up this slate?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Sweet. All right, up first, we have the Bears at...
Could be a lot of food references, folks. Just
We're all in the mood, right? We're ready to eat.
yeah.
So, up first, we have the Bears at the Lions. 37-point total. It's really moved down a lot this week. And the Bears are favored by 4.5. This game starts at 12:30. So, make sure to get your lineup set before then. All right, starting this one off, the 5-6 Jekyll and Hyde Bears come into this divisional game against the lowly 3-7-1 Lions. Last week, the Bears defeated the New York Giants 19-14, real high score there, while the Lions struggled to get anything going against the Washington Redskins and lost 19-16. How bad does it have to be to lose to the Redskins?
Pretty bad.
So the tell of this game to me is a struggling mobile quarterback in Mitch Trubisky, and now the Lions are down to their third-string quarterback, since Matthew Stafford is likely to miss the rest of the season due to that injury to his back. I think the Lions would be ill-advised to try to bring him back this year, as any setback in his recovery from that fractured back could cause some potential future issues. And since they have no chance at making the playoffs. Bam, what you got on this one?
Yeah, so last time these two teams met, there's very little fantasy production to come out of this game. But we'll try and figure it out for you folks. We'll try. Let's start on the Bears side. Over the past 3 weeks, Mitch Trubisky, he's been upgraded from True Bortles. He's now Trubisky again. He's put up 2 respectable fantasy outings against the Lions and the Giants. Ho-hum. Yeah. Struggled against the Rams. So basically what we're saying is if he's got a great matchup, he'll probably do decent for you. If he's got a bad matchup, he'll poop his pants.
Yeah.
So during the games, Trubisky's done well. He's worked with some extremely short fields, allowed him to score more touchdowns than we normally expect to see out of him. So if you think the Lions offense will afford the Bears that opportunity, sounds like that's what's going to happen, then I think he's in play here.
Right.
Of the pass catchers, Allen Robinson continues to be gravy. Get it, gravy? Although with Trubisky as his QB, the gravy can be watery at times. So, and then, behind
Nobody likes watery gravy.
No, even though you're supposed to do that way it seeps into the meat, but you get my point.
Yeah.
You got this weird 3-man committee behind Taylor Gabriel, who's out in this game, by the way, with concussion. You got Anthony Miller, is a slot guy. He's got some additional run recently, so if you need to replace Gabriel, he's your guy. Then you got running back turned wide receiver turned running back turned wide receiver, Tariq Cohen. You don't know what he's going to play week to week. You would assume he'd get more wide receiver production this week, hopefully. Yeah, so I think he's in play as well. All 3 have gotten some pretty big volume at some point this season. It's just trying to figure out who's going to get the volume. And we'll see who gobbles up those targets that normally go to Gabriel. Probably Miller, and another name to watch out for is Javon Wims.
Nice.
And then a little side note, when Taylor Gabriel's off the field, Allen Robinson's target share jumps from 23% to 30%, and his red zone target share jumps from 16 to 33%. What does that mean? That means he's getting more run, especially in the red zone.
Nice.
Unfortunately, he's going to be matched up against cornerback Darius Slay, so it'll be interesting to see how that matchup plays out. That'll be a matchup to watch today.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in the running game, the Bears are happy stuffing David Montgomery with running back work and give him 20-plus touches a game. The Lions give it up to the run a bit. I think he's a good running back two flex option, especially with the Lions quarterback news, short fields,
Yes, exactly. Speaking of the Lions quarterback news, let's go ahead and hop to it. Quarterback David Bleh.
Blech. Yeah, you got some phlegm in there.
He is starting today for the Detroit Lions. Third string quarterback, undrafted free agent rookie, an Udfar.
An Udfar, wow. I haven't seen one of those yet.
Who is this David Blau, you ask? I don't know. And that should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah.
As far as the Lions running back situation, hold on, let's back up a second. I'm not playing any of the pass catchers because we don't know what this David Bleh, we don't know what he's capable of, who his favorite target is going to be. So I'm probably sitting Galladay, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, all those guys. I'm sitting them for this game if you can afford to. Obviously, if you don't have anybody else, you don't have anybody else. But yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So in the rushing game, I'm dubbing Bo Scarborough the cranberry sauce of this slate, as he's a side dish that always shows up. He's a cheap running back in a bad spot.
And nobody wants to eat the cranberry sauce, and it sits there, and it gets stale and crunchy. Nobody wants it.
Right, exactly. But he's had the lion's share, get it? The
Nice.
lion's share of rushes for the Lions last week with 16 carries. I think he's worth adding in season long, especially for your late playoff run. It's always nice to have a guy that's getting that kind of volume. But I don't feel good about starting him this week against a strong Bears rushing defense. What do you think about these defenses here?
Oh, boy. Yeah, both defenses are in play in a low point total, especially with if True Bortles comes back and has a meltdown. Lions defense can certainly get you some points. I think the Bears are probably one of the top plays of the entire slate, including Sunday games versus third string Udfar like David Bluch.
Yeah, for sure. All right, anything else to add to this game?
No, let's keep moving.
Sweet. All right, up next we have the Buffalo Bills at the Dallas Cowboys. This game has a 46.5 point total with the boys favored by 6.5. This game kicks off at 4:30 p.m. What you got on this one?
Oh, boy. Yeah, so this is a decent game. The 8-3 Bills coming to this one, having won their last two games by a combined score of 57-23. However, those are against the two offensive juggernauts, the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos.
The juggernauts.
The juggernaut. And on the flip side, the 6-5 Cowgirls limping this game, coming off a 13-9 loss. The Patriots, they played in some bad weather, but still should have got something going there.
Yeah.
They'll be missing some players on defense. Defensive tackle Antoine Woods. Leighton Vander Esch is still out with that neck injury. Other than that, both teams are relatively healthy, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
And then starting off on the Bills side, Josh Allen's put up decent, not great fantasy production all year. But going into a pretty tough matchup against the Cowboys, who are the sixth best defense against the pass, but are 15th against the run. I like for him to get it going a touch here on the ground with his legs, get that rushing upside that we like from him.
Yeah. Probably
have another respectable game, but nothing to write home about. Probably got the safest floor of anyone on the slate. Probably not a ceiling game here either. So I definitely play him.
Yeah.
If you happen to get a couple rushing touchdowns, you're made in the shade,
Yeah, for sure. Oh, he's put up around 22 points a game, something like that, all year. It's a decent fantasy production. It won't sink you, is what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. What about any of his pass catchers? You like any of them?
Well, you got John Smokey Brown. He's the only one getting any consistent work. Don't know if this is the spot for him. He seems to be kind of matchup sensitive. He'll blow up in good matchups, not show up in bad matchups. So this is sort of a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, for sure.
And as far as the running backs go, we talked on this last week. The Bills continue to use Devin Singletary between the 20s, but for some unknown reason, go to Frank Gore in the green zone.
Yes.
So if Gore gets hurt, Singletary would ever take over that role, he would just smash in this spot because the Cowboys are missing those two run stoppers. But I think he's just a flex option in this particular case.
Yeah, you're just hoping for a big run to come out of him because he doesn't get that goal line work. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, he could break off a long one to pay off for you.
for sure. On the Cowboys side, it's kind of the same flavor. They're the third best against the pass, but the 14th best against the run. I think they're in play if you think Dallas's offense overstuffs themselves on that Thanksgiving dinner. The turkey and the Thanksgiving accoutrements.
Accoutrement. Yeah.
But on the Cowboy side, this is a plum spot for wide receiver Mike Gallup, matching up against Bills cornerback Levi Wallace. Now, 23% of Gallup's targets have come on go routes, and Wallace allows a 70% completion and 4 touchdowns on go routes. So that's a nice little stack if you need Mike Gallup this week.
It's a little fun fact, if you will.
Meanwhile, Amari Cooper, he gets a shadow date with Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White. And unfortunately, Cooper's also been one of those guys that's shown to be a little matchup sensitive. He put up a couple duds versus Marcus Lattimore, Darius Slay, Marcus Gilmore, all those guys. So I'm fading them here if I can afford to.
Yeah.
And I think running back Ezekiel Elliott is in play versus this middle of the pack Bills defense. So, of course, we haven't seen him get the volume this year like he's gotten years past, in yesteryear, if you will. But
yeah, never doubt the Ewok, though.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about quarterback Dak Prescott? We like Gallup a little bit. Really don't like Cooper. What do you think about Dak here?
I think he might need to use his legs some more here if this Bills pass defense plays well. We've not seen him use his legs too often unless he absolutely needs to. So if Zeke's getting some of those read option things going, maybe Dak can pick it up in the run game a little bit. Do like Gallup some. I think Blake Jarwin, our boy, he has a chance for a long touchdown here as he does every week. They just seem to scheme him down the field looks once or twice a game. He just got to connect on one.
Yeah.
So I think, Dak's probably the obvious number 2 quarterback on this 3-game slate behind Drew Brees.
Nice. Which we'll get to in just 1 minute.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about the Cowboys defense here?
They're a good play if you think bad Josh Allen comes out, commits a few turnovers, some fumbles, some picks, gets lost,
Yeah, carries that ball like a loaf of bread. So
yeah, another food reference.
Yeah, there you go. All right, anything else to add to this game?
No, let's keep going.
Sweet. Up next, we have the Saints at the Falcons. This game has a 48.5 point total. The Saints are favored by 6.5. This game kicks off at 8:20 p.m. What you got?
So the Saints are missing left tackle Taron Armstead and left guard Andrus Peat in this matchup versus a Falcons defense that until last week versus the Bucs was playing pretty well. No doubt the Falcons have a cornucopia of blitzes lined up on that side. And I think that's our 10th food reference. I'm not sure. I'm not keeping track.
Nice. I should have been.
Hopefully the people at home keep tally. Yeah.
Nice.
So even with those offensive line injuries, though, quarterback Drew Brees, running back Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, hasn't scored a touchdown since week 3. He has 29 high-value touches over the last 3 weeks. That's targets and carries inside the green zone. Nice. Second to only Christian McCaffrey over the same time frame. So I'm not saying he's going to go nuts, but you know what to do.
Nice.
Then Michael Thomas. All 3 of these guys are no-brainers in this matchup. You're going to play them. It doesn't matter. But tight end Jared Cook and Latavius Murray are both in play as well. Jared Cook's been getting some additional run from Drew Brees because I want to play Ted Ginn and Traquan Smith, but they're rotating snaps at wide receiver 2, and you have no idea who's going to get the target. So I think Jared Cook's picking up a little extra run because of that.
Yeah.
And Latavius Murray is especially in play if you think this game gets out of hand. Like if you think the Falcons poop their pants here and, the Saints are up 35-0, chances are Latavius Murray is going to get about 12 fourth-quarter carries.
Yeah, you think the Saints come in and put one of them old-fashioned Cajun whoopings on them?
Yeah, Cajun butter.
Nice. So on Atlanta side, what do you have?
All right, so this is where it gets tricky. So Julio Jones is a game time decision,
Yes.
and Marshawn Lattimore is limited all week with a hamstring injury, looking like he's going to play, but you can't tell. And this is an 8:20 game, so you really got to figure this part out.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do: if both wide receiver Julio Jones and cornerback Marshawn Lattimore play, if they both play,
yeah,
then I think wide receiver Calvin Ridley becomes one of the top plays on the slate. He's averaging 11 targets and 22 fantasy points a game since tight end Austin Hooper's injury. And we saw last week when Julio went out, he got almost all the targets.
Yeah.
So that's one scenario. If Julio is out and Marshawn Lattimore does play, then I'd out Ridley because he's going to be on Lattimore. And then if Julio and Lattimore are out, I play Ridley.
Yeah. So one guy I like of these pass catchers is Russell Gage. I've talked about him past couple weeks. He's getting a lot of extra run, especially in PPR leagues. Because I think he ended up with like a 9 for 71 line last week. So if he ends up with that again, adds a touchdown to it, he's definitely paying off here in this spot. So
yeah, I like it.
Nice.
And then, tight end Jaden Graham is a decent punt play, maybe a streamer if you're desperate. The aforementioned Austin Hooper is out again. Just don't expect a blow-up game. You're happy with 8 points out of this guy. You're just hoping for a non-zero, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, last food reference, I don't give a fudge about any Falcons running backs, even though Devonta Freeman's set to return here. Saints haven't given up a 100-yard rusher, even didn't give up 100 yards to McCaffrey last week. He got the 2 touchdowns is how he succeeded.
Right.
So I don't really like Devonta Freeman here. And really what this game boils down to, I think we talked about this, it hinges on the health of Julio Jones and Marshawn Lattimore. And I know it'll be tough to figure out, see who's playing, but when you're full of all that delicious Thanksgiving food, but hopefully we've given you a good idea to what to do depending on who plays.
Yeah, for sure. On that note, I'm going to say we're getting out of here. So we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for listening. Hope we gave you some good insight on what to do on this Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving from Buy Low Fantasy Sports with Mitch and Bam. I'm Mitch. He's Bam. We're out.
Epstein didn't kill himself.